swear toward the Queen, with all my strength, and give my blood for hers. I shall take no wife, hold no lands, father no children. I shall guard her secrets, obey her commands, ride at her side and defend her name and honor.
39 seconds of map porn. Also, it's pretty bold to follow 2 minutes of mapping in the opening credits with yet another tracking map shot. Even Magellan doesn't like this much map.
First, the opening credits aren't a map, so I don't know why you're lying about that. And second, how are you going to complain about the map shot being 39 seconds long when your intro was 32 seconds long? Hypocrisy is hypocritical.
The sea snake is going to die, isn't he?
Which one's the sea snake again? I'm getting really tired of having to pause and check previous notes every time a character talks. TV shows shouldn't require this much research. Remember when we just had to try and figure out which famous guest star was the murderer on Matlock each week?
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture reference that isn't a sin of the episode cliche. Also, you don't have to do any research to keep the character straight so long as you're not an idiot. Wait, I forgot who I'm talking about.
I don't want Driftmark.
Maybe you should have spoken up a couple of episodes ago when they were clearing up your inheritance and that poor guy got his face bisected then. You can't let hesitation eat you alive, Lucerys. Not unless you're trying to egg on conversations that needlessly drag on.
I think he's trying to make some kind of a joke. It's hard to tell because it's not funny, but then again, very few of his jokes ever are funny. But regardless, Lucerys has voiced his opinion before at the funeral in episode 7. You just weren't paying attention.
We don't choose our destiny, Luke. It chooses us.
That's a weird way to say some people are born into rich and privileged families and some aren't, so quit being a whiny-ass kid and enjoy your unearned fortunes.
Okay. And the sin is what exactly? That this world has a realistic inheritance system? How is that a mistake?
I was 4 and 10. Same as you are now.
What is this 4 and 10 nonsense? Look, we made our peace with spelling the names all weird with extra Y's and L's, but we draw the line of math. Just say he's 13, damn it, or I'll add 4 and 10 extra sins.
But why is this a mistake of the episode? It's just their way of saying it. How is it wrong? I get he's going for a joke, but the fact that it's not funny means I then have to try and find something legitimate in the content of the sin, and there's nothing here. It's just words.
In time, I came to understand I had to earn my inheritance.
You don't earn an inheritance. It's something given to you when someone else dies. That's kind of the point. But you can earn a sin. That's much easier.
Of course, you're ignoring the fact that, in Rhaenyra's case, she actually kinda did have to earn it. It's so easy to sin shows when you remove all context and lie to your audience, and much more difficult when you actually tell the truth.
Not like you.
In what way, sweet boy?
Not so perfect.
You're also not still alive at the end of this episode, so Rhaenyra gets to one-up you twice in the next 56 minutes. These episodes are long.
That was clearly an implication that this show is boring, which it's not. So...
Princess Rhaenys, might we hope for news of Lord Corlys's recovery?
Viserys is dead.
Man, there's ripping off the Band-Aid, and then there's being a dick. I'll let Cindy decide which side of that coin Princess Rhaenys falls on.
So it's a mistake of the show for a character to deliver important information quickly? Okay, buddy, sure it is.
That war is not mine to begin.
Well, you sure didn't look like someone who wanted to avoid war when your dragon ripped through the floor, killed hundreds of innocent civilians, and roared at the newly crowned king, but maybe I'm just oversensitive to little things like that.
As messed up as it is, yeah, you really are more sensitive than the royal family. I mean, the Greens realistically don't give a shit about the innocent civilians she killed. They only care about themselves, so they wouldn't start a war with her for their sakes.
We should leave Dragonstone at once.
And go where exactly? If the Greens have seized the throne, what safe haven exists for Rhaenyra, her kids, and their dragons?
Babe is coming.
What babe? The babe with the power?
Skip.
We've done this 5 times before.
Acting like that assessment matters a single dilated centimeter to the woman who's going into labor.
Pointing things out on the screen.
I'm grateful for your long service to the crown, so I'm presenting you with a choice.
I wish we'd been shown the scene where Daemon is discussing with the dragon how it'll be more dramatic if it doesn't show up until after he said the word choice.
He complains when the show doesn't deliver spectacle to us, and he complains when it does.
Uncle husbands who show up after the baby's already been delivered.
Discount Jeremy points things out on the screen cliche.
Oh, it's him. You know, the guy who, did the thing. You know what? It. I can't fake that this moment holds any meaning for me at all. All because the show decided to spend so much time on Sir Kristen Mopey McMopey Face Cole instead of sowing the narrative seed of the bearded brothers.
Maybe because Kristen is more important than Eric and Eric? Oh, and by the way, it's still not difficult to know who's who. You're just not paying attention because you're stupid.
I don't know if this is deliberate or not, but this isn't nearly as moving as I think it's supposed to be. These people are swearing loyalty purely because of proximity. If they'd been in the crowd at King's Landing, they'd be bowing for Aegon. What's worse is that I'm certain the show knows this and yet still brings in the swelling music because it wants to have its "you're the true king of Gondor" moment.
And your evidence for that? Oh, you don't have any? Not even a single shred of proof? Then why did you say this? Why would you make a claim that you can't back up with any evidence whatsoever? Also, Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture reference that isn't a sin of the episode cliche.
Okay, everyone, we're going to try something a little different in the finale. Let's bring in the sweeping music.
Skip.
Okay, this table's pretty f***ing cool. In fact, it's so cool it makes me wonder why it wasn't used for the actual opening credits.
Because the opening credits they have are awesome the way they are? This is like asking, why did you steal $100 when you could have stolen $100? They're both equally great, so there's no point in complaining.
Also, there could be books written on this franchise's obsession with maps, although I guess technically there already have been.
Let me ask you something. In a world before things like GPS, wouldn't it make sense for the people to place very heavy importance on maps? Therefore, why is this a sin?
Lady of the Seven Kingdoms and protector of the realm.
She didn't bow her head. Make sure the audience sees that she didn't bow her head. That shit's important. Make sure they see it.
Everything wrong with House of the Dragon, ladies and gentlemen. An important thing happened. Seriously, that's the sin. He literally just said, the episode made a mistake because something important happened. You can't make this shit up.
Daemon, none of our dragons have been to war.
Crazies has been to war, right? Daemon flew his dragon defeating the crab feeder, remember? Or did you forget about that like Daenerys sort of forgot about the Iron Fleet?
I mean, she said none of our dragons, which could mean ours as in everyone who is not Daemon.
There are also unclaimed dragons. Then there are the 3 wild dragons, all of whom nest here.
Wait, there are unclaimed dragons up for grabs? How the f*** is that a thing? If they're so crucial to, well, basically everything, why isn't there a wacky race to nab them, jab them, tab them, grab them, catch that dragon now?
Discount Jeremy tries to sing in a video cliche. Also, only people with the blood of old Valyria can tame a dragon, so they have to wait for people within that demographic to become old enough to do so.
I also have a score of eggs incubating in the dragon mound.
Yeah, but don't they take years to grow to a size that would be useful in an all-out dragon war? Okay, the war itself may go on for a while, but these dragons tend to get through cities in about half a disappointing finale amount of minutes, so I can't imagine it taking that long.
But as you said, the war could go on for years, and seeing as both sides have dragons, that would even it out, meaning one devastating usage of a dragon wouldn't end the war itself. You're saying that the episode made a mistake by having Daemon plan for the long con.
Oh, hell yeah. Now we're going to see some action. Well, this is just them talking. Oh, wait, there comes the dragon. Yeah. And now she's getting off the dragon. And now we have more talking. What the God, D?
Aaron has now been confirmed to be what I call a modern television audience. Someone with such an atrocious attention span that they think dialogue is boring and they prefer to watch a bunch of people bashing each other's brains in. I don't know why he's like this. Maybe he has a disorder of some kind. Maybe it's just the way he was raised. Who knows? But either way, that's your fault, not the show's. Also, Discount Jeremy incorrectly implies that this show is boring.
I've been directed to deliver her message only to Princess Rhaenyra. Where is the princess?
Sure is cool that Rhaenyra has such impossibly long-distance hearing. That way, she could wait for Otto to ask for her, and then she could launch on her dragon at exactly the right moment to create an epic entrance.
Again, he constantly complains about the show not having spectacle, and then sins spectacle when it does happen.
Is this bridge just under constant repair? Like, why didn't they build this bridge wider or build a specific landing spot specifically designed for gratuitous, look at me, I've got a dragon showboating?
Because the designers didn't think people would be landing their dragons on the bridge? Wait, so you're sinning the designers of the bridge for not being able to see the future?
How did Rhaenyra even get off Syrax? It's a pretty narrow bridge, and her dragon takes up all of it. Did she climb down the back and crawl under the dragon? Or did she slide down the head?
Presumably one of those two options you provided. So thank you for telling us why your sin isn't actually a sin. You just did my job for me.
I would rather feed my sons to the dragons than have them carry shields and caps.
I feel like that's a conversation the sons should at least have some say in.
So was this one of your patented satirical jokes that you claim your channel is all about? 'Cause it certainly wasn't a genuine critique, but I mean, it also wasn't funny or satirical, to be fair, so...
Every symbol of legitimacy belongs to him.
Sure, but Aegon only has those symbols because you stole them for him, which nullifies the legitimacy part. If you robbed a bank, but also took all the receipts and paperwork with the cash and tried to pass them off as symbols of legitimacy, that probably wouldn't hold up in court.
Well then, it's good that Otto doesn't need it to hold up in court. Yes, he did steal the throne, but the fact that he has every symbol of legitimacy negates the fact that Aegon isn't actually the legitimate king.
When dragons flew to war, everything burned. I do not wish to rule over a kingdom of ash and bone.
And that's writer code for, yes, we know you'd love to see a war of the dragons, but that would be very expensive and something we'll likely say for a later season when we've run out of beloved characters to kill.
So the sin is that the war didn't immediately start in season 1? So it's bad that the show took time to set up a massive war? You would have rather hopped right into it without any background or context simply because there would have been a lot of action? You idiot.
The enemy have declared war. What are you going to do about it?
Adult kids. Also, I know Daemon plays the lovable rapscallion, but the way he's acting here is counterproductive, even for him. What good does it do to belittle Rhaenyra and risk her standing in the eyes of the very few lords she has at her side?
Right, but he's not thinking about that. He's speaking out of pure emotion right now, which fits perfectly in line with his character.
A Song of Ice and Fire.
At this point, my chief reason for wanting George R. R. Martin to finish the books is so that when the characters look directly into the camera to read their titles, they'll have more variety to pull from.
What? He basically just said a bunch of words and rang the sin bell, but there was nothing of value in that entire sin.
I've had men whipped for falling asleep on their watch.
This show should be whipped for having one of its most interesting characters sidelined for the last handful of episodes.
But the show had a ton of other just as interesting or even more interesting characters still going, so I don't know why you're bitching about it.
You are no man.
Taking Éowyn's tagline in vain.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture reference that isn't a sin of the episode cliche. The next two sins are basically just Discount Jeremy saying things and acting like they're sins when they're not actually sins.
A total blockade of the shipping lanes.
If there's one thing Star Wars Episode 1 taught me, it's that blockades of shipping lanes and trade disputes are guaranteed to make an exciting story.
Discount Jeremy makes it, you know what, you already know what this sin is for. Also, it was boring in the prequel trilogy because they didn't do it right, but this show does all of its political wheeling and dealing almost perfectly, so it's great.
The Triarchy have been routed. The Narrow Sea is ours.
Playing intense music and having Emma Darcy raise an eyebrow does not make the logistical gobbledygook that Lord Corlys is spitting out any more exciting.
Well, that's fine, because it's already super intriguing without all that, so we didn't need it to be exciting. This is another example of Discount Jeremy not caring about story and only caring about big swords, big dragons, killed a bad man, because he watches TV shows like a 10-year-old with bad parents. Also, Discount Jeremy incorrectly implies that this show is boring.
Dragons can fly faster than ravens.
Well, scientifically speaking, I think that depends on a number of factors, the largest of which is whether the ravens are unladen.
Dragons can fly faster than ravens no matter what, as he just said. No need to contradict the show, buddy. Also, I cut off the end of that sin, but he made another pop culture reference.
It's been said that as Targaryens, we are closer to gods than to men.
Who said that? Could you please cite your source? Because that sounds fake as shit, and you're hardly impartial.
Jaehaerys and Alysanne Targaryen were so good in the eyes of the High Septon that Targaryens were considered exempt from the laws of gods and men, which is where this expression comes from. Simply asking a question does not denote a sin.
The Iron Throne puts us a touch closer, perhaps.
Yeah, but that throne killed your father by giving him leprosy or tetanus or leprotinus or whatever. Sure, that'll put you closer to the gods, but not in the way you want and only by way of a funeral.
Yet again, this sin is just Discount Jeremy saying words and counting it as a sin. Is it a critique? If so, he clearly failed, seeing as he didn't point out any mistakes. Is it a joke? If so, it wasn't funny. Finally, it's clearly not satire, so...
I expect you will receive a very warm welcome.
Jeez, Rhaenyra, do you want to jinx him anymore? Maybe have him say something like, "I'll be right back." Or tell the audience he just has a few days left until retirement from the Force.
Ha, 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 ha. Funny joke. See, it's funny because he said some words.
Where's the bloody maester?
Why did you wait until now to ask for the maester? You saw a written message being handed to you, then you took another couple seconds as if trying to recall whether you could read it. Come on, Boros, keep your head in the game. This is the kind of attention span that gets Baratheons killed during hunting trips.
So the sin is that Lord Boros waited a few seconds, most likely just because he was thinking about the situation at hand? That's dumb.
I want you to put out your eye.
Cool effect, but did he scoop out his own damaged eye and replace it with a blue gemstone? If so, why wear the eye patch if he's got a badass replacement eye?
Maybe he just doesn't want everyone to see it. Maybe not everyone thinks it looks cool. I don't know, and it doesn't matter either way, so...
Take Prince Lucerys back to his dragon. Now.
Phew, close call keeping the peace there. Now I'm sure he'll hold Prince Aemon for a little while to prevent any further violence, right? Right?
Wrong, because Aemond is the prince and Boros does not have any authority over him, meaning it makes sense he wouldn't be able to keep Aemond at the castle.
Kicking a child out to fly home in a thunderstorm. Not only a child, but a prince. This is the worst thing I've seen a Baratheon do to a child since... Actually, scratch that. I forgot about the Stannis Shireen thing. Now I'm just extra sad. So here are 2 sins for Baratheons being awful to children.
I mean, that's still not a sin though, so I don't know what your point is.
So Game of Thrones property decides to make the most exciting sequence in an episode barely visible. Cliché.
What do you mean, barely visible? This is perfectly visible. You can see everything. Also, that's not a cliché, my guy.
Smart. Way to use the terrain and your dragon's smaller size to your advantage. Now I'm sure Lucerys will find a spot to land and hide in this tight canyon where Rhaegar can't get him, right?
So you're sinning a child for not being a tactical genius? Are you joking? He's a child, my guy. You can't expect him to make perfect decisions in every single situation. He's clearly panicking as well, so...
I'm not sure what's more sinful here, the fact that Aemon is using this scenario to try and take an eye from Lucerys, or that he's under the impression Lucerys can hear anything he's saying.
Why are either of those things a sin? He's yelling pretty loudly, so it's entirely possible that Lucerys could actually hear him.
Aemon has the perfect eye up face, but seriously, he had to know this was a possibility, right? How else was he expecting to take them out of the sky?
He was expecting to ground them without ripping anything in half. Obviously. What was the point of this sin again?
Wait, why are you looking at me like that? Aemon's the one that got your son killed, not me. Oh, it was the strong joke I said earlier, wasn't it? Well, the bridge that was our friendship appears to have been trampled by a contrivance dragon, so I may as well tell you, you're getting 20 extra sins for this season ends with the main character breaking the fourth wall cliché.
That's not a cliché, my guy.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.